Hello there, and if you're watching this video, you've seen the title, How to Communicate with the Dead, How to Talk with the Dead, and you may think, I am going to speak utter nonsense. Now, there's a couple of reasons why you've stumbled on this video, or you've come across this video, or the reason why you want to watch this video. You believe that you can talk to dead people. The world will think you're mad, but I'm okay with that. There's a lot worse mad stuff. Boris's haircut is madder than that statement, so don't worry about it. 2, you want to see if I can prove that you can talk and communicate to dead people. And finally, call up the Mental Health Institute and get me sectioned. I don't care about that either, really, because the way that I see this world now, in this creative imagination that I go to, everything really goes. And what's all technically that's happening is we are all just projecting a pattern onto reality, and that reality is projecting a pattern for us. So I thought it'd be a great thing to help people with their biggest fear, which is death, and the biggest loss they can ever suffer, which is losing someone, and the loneliness that happens and occurs because of that. So I think this will be really helpful, whether you believe in it or not. And I'm going to explain it from a scientific point of view, how it can be your mind creating patterns, but I'm going to tell you some stories that shows that there's a gap out there in reality that we just don't understand, and at the scariest, highest point of intelligence, I believe there's some truth in this mystic, crazy world. So I've made a list of my experiences and how I would say to you how you can start communicating, or just be aware that the realm of madness that you perceive it to be isn't that mad at all, really. Now, we've all lost somebody, and we've all lost somebody that we have loved. I mean, sometimes you can lose somebody and it's sad and it's horrible and it's tragic and you feel an experience, but then some people you just miss like mad. Now for me, I've lost my aunt and my nan, and I've been pretty lucky, really, because I know people who have lost mothers and fathers, and you know, I don't even want to bring myself to say it, but they've lost their own children like at a young age, and it's a world that working for a children's hospice, a reality and a dark side of life you don't want to see, and like I say, it's uncomfortable to speak about it, but it exists, and I want to bring comfort to those people. And I want to show you that no matter how much you can call it pseudoscience, there's some experiences that have happened to me that I genuinely believe in. Now, when I passed away, when my nan passed away, I'm predicting my own death there. When my nan passed away, I seemed to call out for her to help me when I got into a troublesome time, and strange events would occur, as in stuff would be fixed without me attempting to do anything. So the first one I want to speak about is your belief that that person is still there in some sort of realm to help you. It might not technically be that person directing some sort of energy to the event to help you, but when you can believe that someone is watching over you, protecting you, looking out for you, it seems to sort of make you feel like you're not just in this alone. So it's a great, powerful belief system to have. Now, when I've spoke to people, and I've had jobs in the past where I've had to work with end of life, and I've had to discuss with families their feelings and their emotions at this terrible time, I can see when they believe that person is gone, it is very just I can see that person is lost, and I've experienced that feeling of lost. And I often say this, when you close your eyes and you think of that person, they're in the heart, they come back as a feeling, and you see that they're not really gone at all. The memory keeps them alive. Now you can say they're not real, it's not a real sort of material object in front of you, but that feeling is real. So don't forget to harness that feeling rather than the negativity of the loss. Now, one of the other things that I wanted to say was, we seem to put, or the way reality is created is our brains connecting patterns, and this is what scientists will tell you this next one is. But for me, have you ever found a feather, a coin, other symbols, other strange numbers, a little bit of luck, something associated with what you said, someone's looking down on you, someone's helping you, someone's kicking a £10 note in your direction? Now people will say this is the wind blowing up trash and litter, and there's a bloke somewhere out there who's just lost that £10. But I'll tell you an experience that I've had. For some reason, when my nan passed away, I couldn't stop seeing robins in the most strangest of places. Now for me, you see robins in the garden maybe, or around a sort of wooded area. I was seeing it in sort of town centre car parks, literally always on my car or under my car, just in these strangest places. I once saw a robin at like 1 a.m. in the middle of an industrial factory with no wildlife for miles, on the dustbin, just looking at me. And now, in my strange, bizarre, crazy world, I just believed that was my nan. And I know it's absolutely crazy, but if you look out for these symbols, you'll see that there is something just strangely weird that's just defying coincidences. And I've got more stories than that, not just my expression of constantly seeing a robin, which I'm sure you all have, isn't going to prove that dead people exist. I understand that, but just bear with me, okay? Have you ever had an aroma, that certain smell come back? Now, I remember that someone told me a house was haunted, and the person who lived there was a chain smoker, and occasionally you would smell the tobacco and the smoke, and I thought this was crazy. Now I stayed in this house for a month, and no word of a lie, the smell of smoke filled the air like someone next to me was smoking. So look out for these aromas. This is a strange realm that we don't understand, we can't perceive to be true. It goes against our morals and our intellect. But my God, just be more sensitive and be more in tune, because you'll start to realise that something that we don't understand is going on. And it's not that crazy. I mean, we've made it a pseudoscience, we've made it crazy, but it's not that crazy at all when your experiences don't lie. You ask people now about ghost stories, have you got any? And you'll have a few stories that logically can't be put down to a tremor or a vibration, or a random smell of cigarette smoke wafting in the window from a man smoking a pipe 100 yards away. I can promise you this was someone smoking right in front of my face, and this smell went after about 5 seconds. Another little experience, but look out for it. This is the way that you can connect and get in tune and realise that person hasn't gone anywhere, and you don't have to feel the loss and the pain. They're still there. Another one is dreams. Use dreams as a sort of portal, a world where you can go and do whatever you want in. And go and see the loved ones in your dreams every night. Make it a place where you meet. Now, you don't have to say that reality is not real. It's a reality that you have. You experience that. Go and see your nan. your granddad, your mum and dad, any time. Put them as your last thoughts on the night and go and tell them what you want, and go and ask them if they've got any advice on a project, on a plan that you can't think of the decision. Give it a whirl. See what your dream minds say. Now, neurological scientists and psychiatrists will say it's your mind talking to yourself in your dream. So be it. If you give yourself some good advice, or you give yourself some bad advice, who cares? Who gives a crap? Now, you can look out for this communication with dead people. And I know it sounds crazy, that phrase, you think I've lost the plot. But you can see it in songs, in pictures falling down. I worked in a care home, and I remember somebody speaking about their husband for the first time ever. A picture was on the windowsill, and I was so unconscious, I'd never even seen that she had a picture of her husband on the windowsill. I was just always busy, always going on to the next job in my head. And she showed me this picture. I never touched it, just looked at it on the windowsill. I looked after this person every day, and not one problem had ever happened. And I thought for myself, I wonder if this person, this husband, is just looking down on this woman now and seeing how a man is caring for her now. And I wonder if he just looks out for her. And the minute I had the thought, the picture flew off the windowsill. Right now, you can say the window was open, you can say that the air was happened to push that picture at the same time as my thought process, but my God, it's just, there's just something going on, guys. And I think if you open up your mind, you can see we've got psychic people out there who basically make a living out of this. Now, come on, they say stuff that just sometimes they just wouldn't know. Now, I know there's a lot of fraudsters out there. I know there's a lot of clever, manipulative people that just say, oh, they can say terrible stuff, and it's just they're fakes and they're frauds. But I've heard some psychic sort of readings that have been absolutely nailed on. Just knew something. It's incredible. Now, look out for electrical changes, the lights going off. These ghosts, the science behind ghosts is they're actually still a sort of an electrical sort of charge or energy. So it makes, clear sense that lights would go off, doors would move, material things would move. They've got an energy source. Another story that I can tell you is 3 separate occasions I've seen 3 objects move that I cannot tell you why they moved, right? So I'm not going to go into the details of the specifics, but it is something out there. There's an energy out there that we can't understand, and in 100 years maybe we'll look back at this modern day man and think, wow, you didn't even tap into this sort of telepathic imagination that you had, this endless source where no one actually really passes. They pass to a different energy form, not necessarily a different material reality, and they are gone. So I think I'm hoping that this can bring comfort to someone, and I'm trying to explain the arguments of psychology and science. And my general experience is I'm starting to believe in this stuff now. It doesn't mean that I'm going to talk every day to ghosts and end up in a 4x4 padded cell. It means that I'm just going to be open-minded to the beauty of all these different energies that are happening around me, most of them that I can't even see. Apparently, the percentage of our mind that we use is nothing to the fraction of the capacity that's available. And the same goes for sight, the same goes for sound. There's loads of sort of pseudosciences that are only pseudoscience because no one's really gone into it as a majority and measured this information. Yet the experience is in the world. Deja vu. No one tells you or knows what deja vu is, even though it's a very strange memory sort of brain neurological programming. And to this day, they don't know what it is, but they can tell you how Coca-Cola can keep its fizz in a plastic container. And that doesn't really matter compared to the neurological experience we have. But anyway, I'm coming to the end now, so don't worry, you can get back to reality. I hope that you see that there's some truths in this, and I just think it will give people who has an open mind the ability to believe in it. And if you don't believe in it, comment and tell me that I'm talking crap. You know what I mean? One last story that I've got is try and listen to other people. For the expression of your loved ones, try and listen to other people. Now, I touched upon how you can hear songs and pictures and something might happen. You might see the car that your nan and granddad used to drive around in or something like this, and it's all just signs and signals. But sometimes I've been in a state of lowness, of vulnerability, fragile mind, and even though the person isn't the person who passed away, it seems like they are talking, or the passed away person is talking through this person, because they say things that that person would have said. Now you have to again be very open-minded to this existence, this patience in your own mind and I don't think it's really about believing. There's a difference between believing and knowing. Now, look into that yourself. I'll do a video on that personally, the difference between believing and knowing. But if you believe in something, it shows that you've got a bit of effort to even attempt to believe in it. When you just know, and in my expression, I don't know what happens when you pass away. I just know that there's a lot of information that literally just goes. Now, listen to people, and people will express themselves as messengers. They will pass on messages if you are open to interpret them, to listen to them, to hear them. And all of these things, they don't do anything bad for you. If you hear a wind chime jangling and you think that's your mother or father returned, does that come back to any sort of painful expression in here? Has that made your mind sort of hurt in any way? It will only bring you comfort, and it'll only bring you a great feeling. And I think in today's chaotic crisis of humanity that we're experiencing, we all need a bit of comfort, don't we? So they're my tips on how to express yourself or communicate with dead people. And I'm going to do more videos where I'm going to sound crazy, but I don't think that in 50 years this stuff will be as crazy as it is now. And even if it is, it will be only because we've pushed it that far down to a priority, and we'll be more engaged with artificial intelligence and communication devices, and we'll be that programmed not to really care. And I think that's sad, and I think people need comfort. We don't know how to grieve over a loved one, losing a loved one, and we don't know what to do without them half of the time. And this can fuck you up for 50 years. This can really cause you mental health and anxiety and stress and physical health. It could actually cause your relationships in the future to be affected. And I don't want that. I want comfort for for everybody.